Well, hasn't the Voice debate heated up today? And it's been pretty ugly and frankly embarrassing for both sides of the debate. There's that vicious slur against no voters by Marcia Langton invoking racism and stupidity. I'll show you that in a moment. And remember, she's talking about half the population on current polling, so it's about the worst bit of political advocacy you could possibly imagine. But there's exposure for the No campaign today too, called out for their fear-mongering by a Liberal MP, Bridget Archer. More from her in a moment too. But let's start with the revelations on the No campaign. As you know, I've long said their advocacy against the Voice has been about fear-mongering. It's an obvious scare campaign, largely based on deceptions. Well, now the proof is in. And this report in the Sydney Morning Herald has confirmed that, revealing a training session run for No campaigners, which was run by Advance, and it's calling its No campaign Fair Australia. Run by former Liberal staffer Chris Inglis, the No campaign training prizes emotion over facts. This is the difference between facts and figures or the divisive voice, Inglis tells the No campaign trainees. That feeling of uncertainty, of fear or doubt, that stays. That lasts for a very, very long time. I'm going to hammer in a lot of this emotive language. There you have it, from the horse's mouth. It's about instilling fear and it's about sowing the seeds of doubt. That's what No campaigners are doing when they're ringing people or knocking on their doors. But what they're also doing is hiding the fact that they're No campaigners. In order to be effective, Inglis tells the trainees to identify themselves in a different way. It's been designed purely for soft voters. If we put no in the opening line, that in itself will scare people, right? Inglis tells them. The call is not from the No campaign, it's from Fair Australia, which is soft, it's calming. Unsurprisingly, this and other Voice campaign battles dominated Parliament, where things got pretty testy today.
There they are, telling their campaigners to promote fear rather than hope, to promote division rather than unity, to promote the entrenching of failures rather than the better future, to promote ignoring rather than listening, to promote exclusion rather than recognition.
Yeah, the Prime Minister hitting back at the No campaign overreach there, but the Coalition were quick to point out overreach on the Yes side too. Reports surfaced from Western Australia quoting the prominent academic and activist Marcia Langton at a community forum. Langton, who the Coalition government appointed to help design a legislated voice, said this about No campaign claims.
Every time the No case raises one of their arguments, if you start pulling it apart, you get down to base racism. I'm sorry to say it, but that's where it lands. Or just sheer stupidity.
Now, Professor Langton went on to say, if you look at any reputable fact checker, every one of them says the No case is substantially false. They are lying to you. The Minister for Indigenous Australians, Linda Burney, provided only a general response to all this.
I want to say this very clearly. I call on everyone involved in this referendum to act respectfully and with care for their fellow Australians. We are a great country. We are enhanced by listening to a diversity of views and opinions. And fundamentally, the Voice is all about the act of listening. Listening to some of the most disadvantaged Australians, First Nations people, listening to remote communities so we can help close the gap and improve lives.
Now, Professor Langton is now saying, of course, she wasn't deriding all No voters. She was having a go at No campaigners, but good luck making that distinction in the noise to come over the next couple of days. The debate is getting increasingly testy now, but I've got to say it's about time we had a proper debate. There's been precious little, really, so far. The attacks of the No campaign have too often gone unanswered by the Yes campaign, who have wanted to sort of keep the debate at a high level. This is now a brutal and sadly partisan debate, and the Yes vote will continue to slide unless, along with pushing its positive messages, of course, it hits back and rebuts its critics. Professor Langton has certainly damaged the Yes case today, on the very day they were starting to fight back in the public debate. And no doubt in much of the media, it will drown out this withering assessment from Liberal MP and Voice supporter Bridget Archer, a withering assessment of her own party's anti-Voice arguments.
My preference would have been that we would have taken a more, at least neutral stance in relation to this issue, recognise that it is indeed an issue for all Australians to decide, and not to use it as a political football, if you like, in an attempt to, score points against the Labor government.